Carolina, Detroit, 65-66. No line here in this game. You got Carolina off a thumping last night against the Detroit Red Wings, or against the Pittsburgh Penguins, rather, 6-1. Now playing this Detroit Red Wings team. Detroit's still an automatic fade for me right now. There's no, especially at home. Little Caesars Arena's got no home ice ambiance whatsoever for the Red Wings. It's not a great crowd. It's actually, Detroit's been weird. They didn't have great regular season crowds for their home games, even when the Red Wings were playing really good hockey years ago. And now it's been even worse, really, with the struggles that they've had. They lose to Buffalo in overtime at home the other night. I actually had a little shot of the Sabres in that game at a plus price. I just thought Detroit shouldn't be laying minus 150, 55 to anybody like they were in that game against Buffalo, and Buffalo gets them in overtime with a Marco Scandella buzzer beater in overtime with 0.2 seconds on the clock when that puck went in, beating the Detroit Red Wings. So Detroit, again, on a losing streak. They've lost every game this week. They lost to Toronto last Sunday, Nashville Tuesday. Okay, great teams. No shame in that, but that's the alarm bell loss. You lose to Buffalo at home, one of the worst teams in the league. Yeah, it tells me all I need to know about Detroit. They're another team selling off parts. Mike Green's injury on the blue line has not helped this team at all. They've missed him dearly on the back end as well. For the Red Wings, their offense has gone to sleep. Jimmy Howard, to me, is getting the start night in and night out, and he's not as good to me, at least in my opinion, as good as Peter Mrazek, who was recently traded away to the Philadelphia Flyers. So to me, I'll be honest, even on a back-to-back spot here, Carolina, I think they're the better of these two teams. Be looking to back them here in this game. Carolina Hurricanes off a bad performance last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins, but to be honest, it was a bad performance because they got outshot. They got the plate taken to them, but it's Pittsburgh. I'm willing to forgive them a little bit for that. So I was against Carolina last night. I'll actually be looking to back them here tonight against the Detroit Red Wings, because to me, there's nothing I see in Detroit right now that makes me want to run to the window and take them. Even if Darling gets the start, and I would think he would. If anyone watched that game last night, Cam Ward, after the 6th Pittsburgh goal went in the third period, he had enough. I mean, everybody in front of him was not playing well. I think Pittsburgh had close to, if not more than 40 shots in that game. Throws the stick. Actually ends up hitting Jeff Skinner. He ends up hitting him with the stick, and then he ends up throwing the stick right across the right towards center ice. I mean, he was livid, Cam Ward. So after that kind of meltdown and giving up 6 last night, you got to expect that Scott Darling is going to be in tonight. Cam Ward given a night off to rest, recompose himself mentally after that little bit of a outburst that he had on the ice last night against Pittsburgh. So nevertheless, and Darling, it's not easy to trust him to get a win for you or get saves for you. But I'll still take my chances with, I think, the better team with a lot more to play for. Carolina is still in the hunt for the postseason as we speak. So Carolina, for me, is the side I'll be looking at. Alex B. Smith, you've got something in this game you're looking at. What are you looking at here?
Yes, I'm on the same deal with Carolina. These are two horrible teams, but you look at Carolina, like I said, they got their ass kicked last night, and that's something that usually tends to wake teams up on the second night of back-to-backs. They're playing a weaker team. Like I said, obviously, Detroit's nowhere near on the level of Pittsburgh. So now you've got a little bit more confidence going into the fact that you're playing a weaker team, a team that you should be able to beat, and you're getting out of the recent 4-game stretch of playing division teams. Like I said, this Metropolitan Division, it's so tightly wound that the pressure I feel for these teams playing against one another is a lot higher than when they get out of division or out of conference the rest of the way. And so we might see a bit more relaxed of a Carolina team for, compared to other matchups that we see within their division as opposed to out of it. So those two things on the fact that he said Detroit just playing horribly at home. And in the chat, Kyle Honeysett mentioned a good point that the Red Wings have only scored more than 2 goals once in the last 13 home games. That's something that's very uncharacteristic of this Red Wings team. Like I said, talk about years past at the Joe Louis Arena team that did really well at home, and nowadays at the Pizza Box, it's not looking as fresh for Detroit. So I'm looking at Carolina here. Hopefully we can get a reasonable pick and price, maybe even find a plus price once this number comes out. But I think Carolina should be able to bounce back nicely here and get a win tonight in Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. The pizza's getting stale at Little Caesars Arena. If you're watching the Detroit Red Wings right now, if you're equating their performance to quality pizza, the pizza's garbage in that case. So, the Detroit Red Wings in some trouble right now. Carolina, Alex and I agree there. We're going to look toward the Hurricanes in a bounce back. situation. And I like these teams, even on the second night of back-to-back games, that play after a bad loss. I mean, a lot of times it's just good to get right back on the ice the next night, wash away the stench of the bad performance the night before, see if Carolina can do that tonight against a very beatable team, in my opinion, right now, the Detroit Red Wings.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.